You give up, you die, a wisdom story in a forgotten valley where the mountains looked like broken teeth against the sky. There lived a man named Rayan. The valley was harsh, cold winds in the morning, burning sun at noon, and silence at night so deep it felt alive. People there learned one rule early in life: survival was not guaranteed. Yet among all the rules whispered from elders to children, one stood above the rest, though few truly understood it. Rayan was not born strong. As a child, he was thin, often sick and slower than others. While other boys climbed cliffs and raced through narrow paths, Rayan sat near the fire, listening. He listened to stories of men who tried and failed, of women who endured and survived. One old shepherd, whose back was bent like a bow, often repeated a strange sentence: "You give up, you die." At first, Rayan thought it was only about the valley, about hunger, cold, and wild animals. But as years passed, he realized the words carried a deeper meaning. When Rayan turned 20, a long drought struck the valley. Crops failed, water dried, and families began leaving. Rayan's father fell ill, too weak to work, and his mother's hands trembled from exhaustion. One evening, as the wind howled outside their small stone house, Rayan heard his mother whisper, "Maybe it's over for us." That night, Rayan felt something heavier than hunger: hopelessness. It sat on his chest, making it hard to breathe. He stared at the cracked ceiling and thought, what if she's right? What if there's no way out? The next morning, Rayan went to the mountains to fetch water from a distant spring that many believed had dried up. Along the way, his legs ached, his throat burned, and doubt followed him like a shadow. Halfway up the trail, he collapsed on a rock, exhausted. "This is pointless," he muttered. "Everyone says the spring is gone." As he rested, he remembered the shepherd's voice: "You give up, you die." Not just die in body, Rayan realized, but in spirit, in will, in hope. He stood up. Every step afterward felt heavier, but he kept moving. When he finally reached the spring, he found only damp stones. No water flowed. His heart sank. For a moment, he truly wanted to sit down and accept defeat. But instead of turning back, he began digging between the stones with his bare hands. His fingers bled. His nails broke. Time passed slowly. Just when his strength was nearly gone, a thin line of water appeared, seeping through the cracks. Rayan laughed and cried at the same time. He carried water back to the valley. It was not much, but it was enough. Others followed him to the spring, and together they widened the flow. The drought did not end, but the valley survived. Years later, Rayan faced another trial. Bandits attacked the valley, stealing supplies and spreading fear. Many villagers wanted to surrender and leave. Rayan felt fear too, deep, paralyzing fear. He was no warrior. He had no weapons, no army. But that night he gathered the people and said, "If we surrender now, we lose more than food or land. We lose ourselves." They built traps, stood watch together, and refused to abandon their home. The bandits, seeing unity instead of fear, eventually moved on. As Rayan aged, his body weakened, but his spirit grew stronger. People from other valleys came to ask him for advice. They expected clever strategies or secret knowledge. Instead, he told them simple truths. "Life will break you," he said. "It will take your strength, your certainty, and your comfort. It will whisper that stopping is easier." One young man once asked, "But what if I can't go on?" Rayan looked at him gently. "Then rest, cry, heal, but don't give up. Because the moment you decide to quit on yourself, something inside you dies, and that death is harder to recover from than any failure." On his final days, Rayan lay near the same fire where he once listened as a weak child. The old shepherd was long gone, but his words lived on. Rayan whispered them to his grandchildren, not as a threat, but as wisdom. "You give up, you die, not today, not tomorrow, but piece by piece, and if you refuse to give up, you live, even in pain, even in struggle." When Rayan passed, the valley did not mourn with despair. They remembered him as proof that survival is not about strength or luck, but but persistence. And so the wisdom spread beyond the mountains. As long as you stand back up, as long as you choose to try one more time, you are alive.